20 seconds. Patty Murray raised the document in her hand so the cameras can see it. This memo. Your signature is at the bottom. Should I hold it for the cameras? Kash Patel's lawyer leaned forward, whispering something. Patel shook his head slightly. No. The room froze. This was a standard oversight hearing for the Senate Intelligence Committee. At least, that was how it was supposed to be. Budget discussions, staff updates, routine questions. But Murray had come with a red folder, thick, tabbed. And in that folder, there was an internal FBI memorandum, allegedly bearing Patel's signature. 37 documents. They had all previously been opened for congressional review. They were all reclassified after Patel became the FBI director. And Murray started reading them all one by one. Watch the entire video, because what happens in the next 12 minutes clearly demonstrates why both the trial and these questions are important. But to understand why that moment felt so heavy, one needs to know how Murray reached that folder. Chapter 1. Who is Murray? Patty Murray, senator from Washington, one of the most senior women in Congress. She served for years on the Senate's priorities and budget committees. Murray does not ask questions for the sake of performance. He is not someone who makes a splash in the room. But that day, he was carrying something different. He entered the session late, not for fashion, but for another reason. There was only a single folder next to him, red, thick, and the way he placed it on the table matched the careful movement of someone who knew what was inside. The main point was this: Murray had obtained the documents in his possession thanks to a tip-off and written statement from an analyst who had served on the FBI classification board for 15 years. Chapter 2. The first 40 minutes. The hearing started off routinely. Budget allocations for FBI field offices, personnel changes, and counterterrorism briefings were on the agenda. Patel gave practiced answers to every question. We are monitoring this issue, Senator. I can't comment on ongoing investigations. Standard playbook. He looked at his watch once. He adjusted his microphone twice. He looked bored. Then Murray spoke up. Director Patel, I want to talk about the classification protocols. Patel nodded slightly. Of course, Senator. Specifically, I want to understand why some documents that were previously opened for congressional review were reclassified after you became FBI director. Patel's face remained stoic, but his left hand slammed onto the table, and at that moment, the situation took on a completely different dimension. Chapter 3. Red Folder. Murray opened the first page, saying that on March 22nd, a directive was sent to the FBI Classification Review Board requesting expedited review of all documents related to sensitive matters involving current and former government officials. Patel sat still. Senator, without seeing the specific document you are referring to, you don't need to see it, Director. You signed it. Silence. It wasn't a comfortable silence, the heavy, oppressive kind. The kind where 50 people hold their breath. Murray pulled out the second document. This memo. Your signature is at the bottom. Should I hold it for the cameras? Patel's lawyer leaned forward. He whispered. Patel shook his head. Senator, Patel said in a careful tone, classification decisions are made based on established criteria that include national security assessments and ongoing investigation interests. And to protect powerful individuals from accountability. The words hung in the air. Patel's jaw tightened, very little but visible. I completely reject this characterization. Then help. Then help me.
Chapter 4. 37 Documents. Murray opened the other page and showed Patel that, according to the internal FBI memorandum obtained through the whistleblower complaint, 37 documents were reclassified between March and July, and all of them were previously public and contained information about individuals in powerful positions. This is not National Security, Director. This is a pattern. There is a striking detail here. How did Murray obtain these documents? Someone working on the Classification Review Board within the FBI had been disturbed by what they saw and had gone to Murray's office with a formal whistleblower complaint. Patel tried to regain control. Senator Murray, with all due respect, you are drawing conclusions from incomplete information. FBI's classification protocols. I am drawing conclusions from a whistleblower who works on your Classification Review Board and has requested protection for their testimony, so I will not disclose their name. Murray's voice became sharp for a moment. Someone so disturbed within the FBI that he went to this committee with the documents he had. He pulled out another document. Colorful tabs were sticking out from the edges. This is a written statement by an FBI analyst. This is a written statement from an FBI analyst.
If you want to follow these types of trial analyses and corporate audit processes, you can subscribe to our channel and keep the notifications on. Let's continue. Chapter 5. The Whistleblower's Statement. The gallery was filled with whispers. Journalists reached for their phones. One of the C-SPAN cameras zoomed in on Murray's folder. Murray began to read. Without naming names, just the content of the statement. During my 15 years at the FBI, I have never seen such systematic efforts to reclassify documents that were previously made public. The directive came directly from the director's office. We were instructed to prioritize documents that mentioned specific names. When I asked the reason, it was said to be a matter of national security. But the documents I reviewed were not related to national security: witness statements, visitor logs, and correspondence. Murray downloaded the document. Does this look familiar to you, Director? Patel's face had gone through several expressions: surprise, calculation, discomfort. Now that empty mask had taken its place, the kind that politicians wear when they are cornered. I cannot comment on the claims of an unnamed person. Then let me be more specific. Chapter 6. Documents one by one. When Murray moved to the next tab and said he would explain the contents of the reclassified documents, the room fell into such silence that even the journalists stopped taking notes. Document Alpha 72. Visitor logs for a private residence in Palm Beach, Florida. It was made public in 2019. It was reclassified under your directive in April 2025. Patel's hands pressed down on the table. Document Beta 39. A witness statement from someone who worked in the same residence. It had been opened before. It was reclassified in May. One of the committee members made a slight sound, out of view of the camera. Document Charlie 51. Flight manifests showing the travel patterns of multiple individuals between 2002 to 2015. It had been previously opened. It was reclassified in June. Looking at Murray Patel, he said, "A total of 12 documents, all related to the same investigation and all reclassified in the months you took office," and continued. "You said the reclassification was for national security reasons, but what security interest does hiding visitor logs from 15 years ago serve?" said, and Patel fell silent, unable to find the words. Chapter 7. The name was dropped. And Murray, lowering his voice but raising the emphasis, asked, "Director Patel, did you personally order the reclassification of documents related to Jeffrey Epstein's former associates?" And the name hung in the air of the courtroom. Everyone paused for a moment. Patel's face went pale, visible under the courtroom lights. "Senator, the FBI does not make classification decisions based on names. We follow established protocols." "This is not what I asked." Murray's voice was calm, almost flat. "Did you personally order the reclassification of documents related to Epstein's former associates? Yes or no?" 20 seconds. In congressional hearings, 20 seconds is the moment when everyone realizes the expected answer will not come. Chapter 8. 17 Names. Patel finally answered, his voice low and defensive. "Senator Murray, the way the FBI handles sensitive materials cannot be reduced to a yes or no." And Murray responded with a calm nod, as if to confirm that he already knew that. "Then let me help." Another document. This time it was different. Single page, tabless. He raised it, so that the cameras can see. This is a list of names. 17 names. They all appear in the documents that have been reclassified under your directive. They are all somehow connected to Jeffrey Epstein, and they are all powerful names. Politicians, business people, donors. He downloaded the document. "I will not read these names aloud today, because, unlike you, I believe in adhering to the procedure. But I will submit this list to the committee record under seal." Patel looked at his lawyers. There was nothing. No notes, no whispers. "And I request on behalf of this committee, explain under oath why these specific names necessitate the reclassification of documents that were previously made public."
But the crucial point was this: Murray's request was not over. Publish the documents. Release them. Visitor logs, witness statements, flight manifests. If there is nothing related to national security, you shouldn't have anything to hide. If there's nothing related to national security, you shouldn't have anything to hide.
Chapter 9. Public Reaction. The hearing was officially ongoing. Senators were taking turns asking questions. Cybersecurity and field office staffing were discussed, but no one was paying attention. Clips had hit the internet within minutes, and news channels had cut their broadcasts. Legal analysts began to discuss the legal weight of the whistleblower's statements and the limits of reclassification authority. Two different streams of commentary have emerged on social media. Why is this connection only coming to light now? And how reliable are the sources Murray has? This dichotomy shows the gravity of the issue. Chapter 10. Claim or reality? At this point, a critical distinction needs to be made. Verified. The documents presented by Murray entered the trial record. Patel did not explicitly deny the existence of the March 22 directive. The whistleblower's statement was taken by Murray's office and provided with confidentiality protection. The claim that 37 documents were reclassified was made by referencing an internal FBI memorandum. Controversial or unverified. The list of 17 people was not made public. The links Murray shared were not legally verified and were presented only as allegations in court. The rationale for the reclassification decisions was not officially disclosed, and Patel categorically denied all allegations. The point legal analysts emphasize: the authority to classify belongs to the executive branch. Congress cannot directly invalidate this authority, but it can demand an explanation of why the documents were classified within the scope of its oversight authority. That's exactly what Murray did. Chapter 11. A folder, 12 minutes. 12 minutes. Murray didn't speak loudly. He didn't threaten. He didn't put on a performance for the camera. He listed documents obtained from a whistleblower complaint. He lifted a memorandum that was allegedly signed, and he put Patel in a position where he had to respond. If he admits that the documents were reclassified, the question of justification arises. If he denies it, he contradicts the documents in the court record. Since Patel did not provide a clear answer, the uncertainty was recorded, and the next steps are still unclear. The 17-person list submitted by Murray is sealed, and the requested documents have not yet been made public. Legal proceedings are ongoing. But questions were asked. No answers were given. This division will not easily fall off the public agenda. If you have followed this analysis up to this point and want to keep track of corporate audit processes, subscribe to our channel and keep the notifications on. We will continue to analyze the fate of the 17-person list and the requested documents sealed by Murray here. In the comments, I wonder, what weight should whistleblower statements carry in congressional processes? How should the balance between the executive branch's classification authority and legislative oversight be established? See you in the next video.